It finally happened. The Cubs won on a Sunday, and it was a sweep.
Nah, we ain't taking that.
You are Locked On Cubs, your daily Chicago Cubs podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Cubs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Alongside Sam Olber, I'm Matt Cozy. Sam and I are lifelong fans, taking our passion into a discussion with you on all things Cubs. Today's episode is presented by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. Matt Shaw returning soon. Matthew Boyd lighting up the box score. And so is Pete Crow-Armstrong as the Cubs sweep the White Sox. 1 month ago, PCA entered the series finale, if you recall, against the Dodgers on ESPN Sunday Night Baseball with exactly 0 home runs and a batting average of 197. That same weekend, there were conflicting reports of a possible contract extension as well. In the 30 games since, PCA is hitting .342, 12 homers, 8 doubles, 3 triples, 8 stolen bases, and 33 runs batted in. Firmly in the All-Star convo, there were multiple MVP chants throughout the weekend. And Sam, this guy is the real deal as the Cubs take care of business, and pretty much all 27 innings, they were in control.
I can't remember a player that has provided this much excitement in this little of a stretch. Maybe I don't know. I can't trace it back, and I go all the way back to the beginning of the year or the preseason. And one of the things we talked about so much was, okay, this Cubs team is really exciting because they have a mix of, and I know the eye rolls are coming, high floor and high ceiling guys. And what I meant by that was when you're projecting this team, right? You go on Pacoda and all the fan graphs,
my favorite one,
and all that stuff. We talked about this. How do you project a guy like PCA? How? You just don't know. That the ceiling is so high, and you just don't know. And I looped Shaw in there as well, and that's where you're seeing both sides of it. You don't know what you're going to get. Shaw had to get sent down to AAA, but Pete is showing exactly what that means, the definition of a high ceiling guy, because he has come in, and as much as Kyle Tucker has been the story and was the story heading into the year, and I don't like to make this about, who, it's not a competition. You're trying to win games. Pete Crow-Armstrong has been the best player on the Chicago Cubs so far in 2025. I believe he is the biggest reason that they are having the success that they're having. And I'm not going to limit his ceiling. So whether that's talking about the All-Star game, which, that's going to happen as long as he stays healthy, whether it's talking about potential MVP conversations. I understand that there's a player out there for the Dodgers. It's one of the greatest to ever do it. I get that. But, maybe that's a conversation we table, but it's a very interesting one to bring up, because if the first month and a half has taught you, me, or anybody watching, there is no reason in the world to limit this young man's ceiling. Because I'll tell you this, when he goes to sleep at night, you know what he's thinking? Yeah, this is what I expect out of myself, right? That's why he didn't want to sign a deal like that. He believes it. And I get it. The swing rate's crazy and the numbers don't make sense, but good. You know what I mean? Sometimes it just maybe he's a unicorn a little bit. Maybe he's just different. And there's going to be some moments. I mean, there was one today. He had a 3-2 strikeout where, I don't know what he was swinging at, but I'm along for the ride. And again, Cubs took care of business, and, that was great. But you're right. The takeaway from this weekend was just this guy was the best player on the field, and it wasn't even close.
Oh, man.
I mean, did you see the play he made in center on Saturday?
Saturday up against the Ivy.
The home run to break the ice on Friday. The big hit on Saturday again. Then he leads off today with another triple. This isn't a triples park.
Right.
And so, my
Exciting.
My takeaway is why limit the ceiling? Why?
Well, and I think the player, in a way, is symbolic of the team this year.
Mm-hmm.
Why you, after these types of games, these types of series with these types of players, you do begin to imagine and dream what could happen with this team, especially with a guy who has broken the projection system so far, and he wants to be great. He's got that swagger, he's got that personality, and now he's producing. And you're right, there is a save for an at bat or two a game where it's like, oh, what was that?
Yeah.
He's doing everything correctly. And besides one player, Aaron Judge, Pete Crow-Armstrong has the best WAR in baseball. And WAR, as we know, loves defense, and PCA is great at that. And that's why he gets that boost. But even just at the plate, Sam, it's been incredible. It's been impressive. I think if I had to rate all the moments from the weekend, I thought that impressive change of direction catch up against the Ivy Saturday was going to be 1 or 2, but then he doubles Sunday. He triples. So just really good. And I think in a way you can parallel these two things happening at the same time, both with him and the team. And this week they went 5-1.
Yep.
They're now 28-19. There's 15 games left to this so-called softer stretch with the Fish again, the Reds, Rockies, Reds again, and Nationals still to go. And to have 3 games where they were pretty much in the driver's seat, that's what we wanted to see.
Mm-hmm.
There was no glimmer of a Wednesday where they couldn't get it going offensively. They just went the whole time.
Yeah, it was just a business homestand. And when we were projecting, okay, how do they get to 15-6, 14-7? You kind of felt like a 5-1 homestand was going to be necessary in order to do that, because at Miami, at Cincy, that's a different level than these two teams at home. You know what I mean? And so you felt like you wanted to get a sweep in. They did that. They had to have a dramatic win on this homestand. They did that on Tuesday night.
Mm-hmm.
And this weekend was exactly how you would draw it up. It was pretty low stress, even though they got behind the first couple of games. It never really felt like the game was in doubt. And it was just business. Everybody contributed outside of Pete. It wasn't like, anyone really popped off the page. I thought Dansby was wonderful on Saturday.
Yeah, he was.
But this is just business. This is why when you go into a stretch like this, it's really important. We talk about it all year. Hey, if you could just hang in there, get to this stretch. Well, look, this is a bad Sox team.
Right.
They're dropping baseballs. They have the infield in the second inning when the wind's howling out. I mean, this was just a really bad exhibition of baseball from a very bad team. And what you're supposed to do is take advantage of that. And the Cubs did that Friday and Saturday and Sunday. And I thought, put themselves in a really nice position. That's one part of this 21 game stretch now, almost a third of it, where they've taken care of business and now you move forward.
Matthew Boyd was the reason they took care of business as well. Really, his last 3 outings. We're going to get you the numbers on that and dip into all the starters and a little bit of the bullpen from the weekend as well. Stay with us.
This episode is brought to you by Wonderful Pistachios. Looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious? Crack into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help keep you feeling fuller longer. Personally, I love the no shells variety. It's the perfect grab-and-go snack for busy days, whether I'm snacking at my desk, on a road trip, or just need a quick protein boost. They're always my go-to. Folks, you've seen me eat these plenty on watch-alongs. They're my go-to snack. They're my favorite snack. Chili roasted is my favorite flavor. I have to have a quick handful right now. They're excellent. They're packed with flavor. I could not recommend them more. So get snacking and get cracking with a snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more.
Matthew Boyd has a 2.98 ERA with 53 strikeouts and 51 1/3 innings this season. The last 3 outings for the veteran lefty, 18 innings, 15 hits, 7 runs, no walks, 23 strikeouts, opponents hitting .231. He has also recorded at least 5 innings in each start this 2025 campaign. Sam, as I was watching the game on Saturday, wind blowing straight out, Boyd just dicing people up, even, a couple spots where he got hit around a little bit, but he really has established himself as the best starting pitcher on this team. Clearly a contending team, helping a team that has occurred absences, 3 of them, Assad, Imanaga, and Steele in the rotation, but also one of the best starters really in the game. If you stack up all the stats, he's in the top 20.
I love when things that we talk about in the preseason or spring training or whatever come to fruition. You know what I mean? Like I feel so good, even when we're wrong. I feel so good about those episodes because we spent so much time talking about Boyd, and the question was, hey, are you going to get the Matthew Boyd from 2016 through 2023? Or are you going to get this pocket in 2024 when he came back with Cleveland and really did look like, to your point, a top 20-ish starter in baseball? And so far, what everybody was going to debate until, there wasn't time to debate anymore, is that he looks like that guy. That wasn't a mirage last year. That postseason that he had, the end of the year. I mean, you look at his numbers, 2024, he threw 39 innings. So he's already thrown more regular season innings this year than he did last year. Struck out 46, had a 2.72 ERA, only walked 13 guys. And now he's thrown an extra 11 innings, still only walked 13 guys. Strikeout rates almost the same. ERA is almost the same. That's that guy right now. And, I thought for the Cubs to have success this year, he was going to have to be one of their 3 best pitchers. And with Steele out and with Imanaga out, he has been their best pitcher consistently. And I think there's a part of it too, Matt, where the eye test is just different. Like, yeah, Tyone threw 6 innings, 3 earned the other day. It just it looks different with Matthew Boyd. It looks in control. Like, if you were to tell me right now, we were going to Dodger Stadium for a game 7, and you never know. And you told me Matthew Boyd was on the mound for that game, as long as Craig was really careful with him the 3rd time through, I would feel so comfortable with him going 5+ and allowing 2 runs or less on the biggest stage you could have against that team. The only thing that I get concerned with him about is just as long as he's healthy, it's just a health thing, because now, and I think we'll get a nice show to update probably Monday would be my guess.
That's what they're saying. Yeah.
But now that Shota's out and Steele's out, he might be the guy, the linchpin that you can't lose.
Wow. Yeah. And I was even going to ask you, game 1 of the playoff series, who throws? But you took it in a more dreamlike scenario.
Yeah, I mean, they give it to Shota, but
yeah,
he's there.
He's in the convo, right?
Yeah. Hopefully there's another guy coming too.
Yeah, it's been great. It's been great to see that. You were on Boyd, for a lot of this time, and I'm glad to see it come to fruition. The Cubs with 2 veteran signings in the rotation, both that caused a lot of questions to be raised, I would say. Mm-hmm. The Boyd signing, it was like, well, is this foreshadowing not another major starting pitching move, which, in reality did end up occurring. And then
Right.
Colin Ray was that confirmation that they're not going to add another signing of impact in the rotation, which became true. So, but right now, both of these additions are pitching really well. I think Colin Ray, you can make a case, not that the rotation needed saving because we never saw it like go down a hill, but to have those injuries that early, to Steele and Shota, and then never to see Assad probably the whole year. He stepped up as well, and he did just enough, and then a little bit more on Sunday. Cade Horton got hit around Friday.
Yep.
I'm really curious after he takes the rubber on Wednesday, of us kind of doing a little bit of report card on him first 3 starts. But any other thoughts on the starters this weekend?
Yeah, I do. I don't like to play this game because every team could do it. But I think it's a good example now. If you just, humor me. If I were to tell you the day before the Cubs left for Japan, by mid-May, they'd have Steele out for the season. Imanaga would be injured, and they would have this record with being led by Matthew Boyd, and to a lesser, but in a different way, not that much lesser of extent, Colin Ray. I mean, Ray's effort on Sunday, he wasn't sharp by any means, but he still gave you 5 1/3 innings of 1 earned run baseball to lower his ERA to 2.38. And no matter what happens the rest of the year, if he were to go out, his next start would be in Cincinnati, which is not a fun place to pitch. If he were to go out and give up 10 runs and his ERA gets elevated, that's why sometimes ERAs, all that stuff could be deceiving. Nothing will take away how integral he's been to this team for the first month and a half. If they had somebody replace Steele that couldn't get the ball over the plate or that was really struggling, they'd be in a totally different place right now. He has been one of the unsung heroes. Boyd, I don't look at as an unsung hero because, like I said, I think some people did expect him to be good, maybe not this good, but it's really impressive. And Passan was on. This was right around when the Giants were in town on Waddle and Sylvie, and I thought he phrased it perfectly. By the way, it's amazing the pulse that he has on literally every team. You could tell he actually knows the Cubs. And he goes, look, the starting pitching hasn't been flashy, but it's been good enough. And if it's good enough, that's really all that matters for this team. And the fact that it's been good enough without Imanaga now for a couple weeks and beyond, and without Steele for the season, is a huge story. Eventually, they're going to need somebody else, and I'll even go as far as to say a name, but that's not for now.
Right. And by the way, Boyd would be going to Atlanta today.
Oh, for sure.
So that's really fun to think about.
For sure.
Some bullpen notes here.
Good call.
And it's not good for one of them.
Oh boy.
The Cubs bullpen this week allowed all of 3 runs, and they were all allowed by the same person, Julian Merriweather. And so basically, aside from him, they were lights out. And Hodge, Keller, Flexen, Pomeranz, Presley, and Palencia all went 2+ scoreless innings. Palencia specifically, Sam, went 3 1/3, 4 strikeouts, just 1 walk.
And he was up. He was up Sunday.
A couple of hits. Yeah. Pitched the 8th inning on Saturday. And Pomeranz still hasn't allowed a run in 9 1/3 now he's up to.
Yeah, it was a really interesting conversation today. I have 2 things on the bullpen real quick. The first one is on Pomeranz, like you just said. I don't know if you heard this. You probably didn't. Boog and JD were talking about, like, Boog was like, Pomeranz has made over $50 million in his career, and he hadn't been in the league since 2021. Like, I'm surprised that he, fought this way back and whatever. And me, that really got me going.
Yes.
He's a competitor.
Human element.
Yeah, he's a competitor, man. When you want to compete at this level, there's nothing in the world that can replicate being in the major leagues at Wrigley Field on a Sunday afternoon, Cubs Sox 40,000 plus, and you need to go get a big out. Doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter how old you are. Rich Hill's still trying to do it. You're addicted to competing at the highest level, and he's been a great find. Give the Cubs credit for that. And then I just had a question for you. Do you find it a bit odd? So Palencia was warming up to pitch his third day in a row because Merriweather was really close to getting in a jam there. Swanson made a great play on Sunday, but Hodge just pitched. That's a closer spot. Hodge pitched Saturday. He didn't throw Friday. They seem. My question is are you noticing? I think they really feel like maybe going to him back-to-back days is an issue? Is that?
Yeah, they're clearly being more gentle with Hodge. Why? No clue.
Because I was like, why is Palencia up? This could be a 6-3, 6-4 game with two guys on. No knock on him, but he's pitched 2 days in a row. And, I just want Hodge to take this closer role and run with it. And it just.
I wonder when that will change.
And it just hasn't happened. He's not. Striking out a ton of guys and whatever. But anyways, it was a great day. Presley even got a high leverage double play ball on Sunday.
Matt Shaw started the year as the Cubs third baseman. For the last few weeks, the Cubs have had a revolving door there, and that may end on Monday night in Miami. We'll explain why next.
This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. The NBA playoffs are in full swing, and every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't-miss moments. Whether it's a game-winning shot or a breakout player, there's never been a better time to get in on the action. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before tip-off and live with player props, performance trends, and same-game parlays. Fans have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. Folks, look, we talked a lot of NBA with FanDuel. I felt like it was the Thunder's title to lose. They're currently up in a Game 7 at home against Denver, a game that I was very much looking forward to. The score is 125-85, Oklahoma City, with just a minute left. I think we could put the Sharpie on that one and pencil the Thunder in the conference finals against Minnesota. And then a classic rivalry, Knicks-Pacers in the Eastern Conference Finals. Of course, I think about Reggie Miller in the Garden when I think about those two squaring up. So if you're new to FanDuel, it's the perfect time to sign up. Head to FanDuel.com and place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook betting partner of the NBA.
Matt Shaw /line, the last 19 games at AAA Iowa, 338, 437, 676, OPS above 1,100. He has 6 homers in that stretch, also has walked more than he struck out, 12-10, respectively. Craig Counsell said after Sunday's game, so before Sunday's game, Matt Shaw was not in the Iowa lineup. And then there was momentum throughout the day about him meeting the Cubs in Miami. And sure enough, Craig Counsell said after Sunday's game, Shaw is, quote, under consideration, close quote, to get the call back to the Cubs. And Sam, the more I see John Birdie, Vidal Brujan, Nicky Lopez, but really I would say the most former of the trio, John Birdie.
Yeah.
Who's gotten the most PT, most playing time. I would say paired with Shaw's performance at AAA, paired with the fact that he's had some approach changes. He's had a slight mechanical change, being more upright at the plate. I think it's time.
Yeah, it's a very interesting conversation because I've been in the camp of the Cubs should not have their incompetence at the third base position doubled before forcing them to bring up Matt Shaw before he's ready. So I've always looked at those two things as independent. But to your point, Shaw has kind of, Jed said he's got to force the hand. He's got to make it obvious. Well, the last week or so, like you just said, he has. My guess would be it's not independent. My guess would be that because third base, and I know Brujan had a couple of hits on Sunday, I'm not going to, go there. because it's been so incompetent. I think now they're probably bringing it up maybe a tad earlier than they would if
probably about a week early, I would say.
Yeah, probably so. But to your point, he's also earned it. I don't think they would have brought him up if this hot streak didn't happen. I mean, he did hit 4 home runs in a 2-game stretch.
Wow.
We talked about the exit velocity. The 100 plus exit velocities are really starting to come off. So I think it's kind of a little bit of both worlds. I think Matt has earned this opportunity to come back up here, but the Cubs also need him to do that because, John Birdie, for whatever reason, can't hit the ball anymore.
He went 0 for the week.
And I'm sure with a large amount of strikeouts.
Absolutely.
And Vidal Brujan, who got a couple of base hits.
That's a nice parting gift for him. He'll be designated for assignment Monday.
Made a base running gaff that was bailed out because the catcher missed the tag and he was safe. That was just, if you're going to be a platoon guy, a margin guy, those things can happen. You can't be trying to make a close play at home with 2nd and 3rd, no outs, and Kyle Tucker coming to the dish. I don't care if Tucker's 0 for his last 180. I want him in that spot. I don't want you to make an out before he comes up. So, I'm with you, and I'm excited. It's another. Not only are the Cubs playing such good baseball, or at least winning games. I wouldn't say they're playing great baseball, but they're playing well enough. There's so much excitement. You're getting to see these young guys, Pete and Cade, now Ballesteros. We haven't even talked about him yet. It was a quiet weekend, but
right.
He did get his hit, and now you get Matt Shaw back, and just because it didn't work out the first time, Willie Mays got off to a slow start. Mickey Mantle. I think there's a story about Mickey Mantle.
Ryan Sandberg.
I think there's a story about Mickey Mantle where he called his dad. He wanted his dad to come pick him up from the minor leagues. He was done. He didn't want to do it anymore. And his dad said something like, "All right, I didn't raise a quitter anyway." And then I think like a year later, he was playing in the World Series. So.
No, I'm excited to see Shaw back.
Hope
the Cubs, an influx of young talent all of a sudden.
I feel like I heard
this
that
season. All these guys graduating and people we've heard about, and now it's happening, and it's good. It's good for the organization's health as well to see these dudes up and contributing, and then some, really. So yeah, glad for that. I'm curious about roster moves this week. Because you'll have Shaw promotion Monday. Hap will hopefully come off the IL, whether it's this series or maybe they just wait till Friday in Cincy, where he's like Babe Ruth over there. And so
right.
What are the corresponding moves? Also, Merriweather's not long for this team. So what do they do about that? I mean, you're laughing, but he shouldn't be around much longer.
I'm not. I'm laughing because I just think that the way you phrased that was funny.
And
I like that phrase, not because I don't really know what that means. It's a phrase.
He won't be here much longer. So, Cubs Marlins 5:40 p.m. Central Monday and Tuesday.
It really messes with my day. I got to start everything an hour earlier.
I don't think we've had this early of a Wednesday game yet. We've had a couple Thursdays like this. 12:10 p.m. Central Wednesday. The finale. Right now, it lines up like this: Brown, Cabrera, Tyone, Weathers, Horton, Meyer. And see, we just saw the Marlins. Kyle Stowers is hot. They avoid Alcantara again. Matt Mervis, 0 for 10 entering Sunday.
Avoiding Alcantara might not be a bad thing.
It might not matter.
It might not be a good thing. I mean, he's right. I have him on my fantasy team. His ERA is 8. Cabrera could be wild. I really am not looking forward to seeing Weathers again. I hope.
He was excellent.
And then, Myers had some pretty good outings. The one news I saw on Sunday that's significant.
Yeah, he's given up a lot of runs recently, Meyer.
That's good news. The one thing I saw on Sunday that's significant because he's kind of a pest is Xavier Edwards, I think. Won't be. I think he's on the IL. I think that.
Oh, okay.
Good news, meaning that the Cubs don't have to face him. Not that he got injured.
Yeah.
He's their best base stealer. He plays shortstop for him, hits lead off, all that stuff. So today they had Jesus Sanchez leading off, and I got to tell you, it was only 3 games, but Stowers was the huge story. This kid Connor Norby really swung the bat well too.
Yeah, he heated up that series. He was great in the Rays series for the Marlins too.
This will be like this week. I really wanted to go 5-1 last week. If they go 4-2 this week, that'd be really nice. Remember when we did those? Well, remember we did that. Remember we did that 21 game stretch. This is where I had them actually losing a series in Cincy. So I'm not, they gave themselves some nice cushion. I'm just win a series in Miami. That'd be a success. They're at a different caliber than the team that they just faced this weekend. That team is,
one of the worst of all time.
Do you know it's the first time since 2009 since the Cubs lead the season series or the all-time series against the White Sox? If you're into that sort of thing,
that's a nice fun fact right there.
Yeah, that's just a really bad baseball team. The Rockies might catch them.
2009, that would have been Lou Piniella and Ozzie Guillen.
Yeah, the Cubs, I think, got him a couple times there in 07 and 08.
We'll be back after Cubs Marlins Monday night. Brown Cabrera. This is Locked On Cubs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. For your second listen, check out the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night, all season long. Get local analysis on a national scale. Find MLB Game Night on the Locked On MLB channel on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. He's Sam Olber. I'm Matt Cozy. This is a winning edition, a sweep edition of Locked On Cubs.